What's your name?
Quinton Brown.
Oh, that was, you were up for an arraignment this morning.
Yeah,
That was at 8:30.
Yeah, I dropped my son off at 8:30. I didn't know because the court didn't open
Okay,
up
so
till
what we have
8:30.
to do, I
So I'm trying to
believe,
figure out how to get it.
well, I don't think you're gonna,
County,
you're not gonna, I don't think you're gonna, are you gonna have time to address that? You wanna go through an arraignment?
please.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Then you go discuss it with Mr. Sierra.
We talked already.
What's that?
We talked already.
You already talked? All right, well, let me finish.
Form's already submitted.
Okay, let me take care of these here quick and I'll just get right to you. I need that file, though. Can you go get that file for me?
For Brown, yes.
Brown. You need to be here on time or else you're gonna get yourself a bench warrant. You gotta be careful about that.
Yeah, I got the notice. I just didn't know the time. I got the email right here. You don't have a time on there, so I was trying to get in touch with you guys. That's why I'm here right now.
I already looked at the notice.
And I
The
called
notice
you
very
guys at like-
specifically stated the time, sir. So I'm just letting you know that.
No, I can show you my email right now. I got it from you guy right here. You got his name on it. Is it Dario? Who is that?
That's Mr. Sierra, but that's, the email isn't the notice.
This is the notice that I had.
Let's go in the record in the matter of the people, state of Michigan versus Brown, file 2444177 FY. And state your name, sir.
Quinton Brown.
Assistant Public Defender Dario Sierra appearing on behalf of Mr. Brown for the purpose of arraignment.
Very good.
We have reviewed that felony file. I waive reading at this time. I'm speaking with him. He had asked it a set for the probable cause conference in the prelim. After he has just advised now that he would like to self-represent. So court-appointed attorney is being denied by Mr. Brown.
Well, it's not being denied. He's
It was
just
previously
declining to
granted,
accept it.
so I-
All right. All right. You sure about that? You want to represent yourself when someone goes to school for many years to learn how?
I know what's going on better than anyone that can, because it's not right. Like, I'm not.
It is your right. It's your absolute right to represent yourself. The point of I just want to.
I got proof. I got proof.
Hold on. Okay.
I just want to talk to the
I want.
prosecutor in my case.
Okay, and that's fine. I'm just gonna, right now, what I say now for the next moment is going to be something I want you to listen to only for the sake of protecting you. The only reason I'm making the statement is to protect you from yourself, which I have to do a lot with people, okay? So this is not just a matter about you, it's about anyone that wants to represent themselves. I go through this with, okay? And what I want to be sure is to not have you make statements right now about the case because we're on the record and I don't want anything you say now to be able to be used against you as you go forward, okay? That's just to protect you. That's the only reason I'm saying that, all right? What I want to also go into is the fact that I'm going to give you the spoiler alert. You absolutely have a right to represent yourself, so I'm not going to, you're going to have that right. But I want you to be very wide-eyed and thoughtful about whether or not you want to have someone who is, who does this for a living, who is here, they know all of the laws, they know all of the various potential defenses and discussion points that they could have with the prosecutors to probably assist you in using your knowledge. So if you say you know all there is to know about your specific case, and that's probably true, no one would know that better. But if you combine that with the know-how of a prosecutor, of an attorney,
they won't represent me like I'm innocent and protect me like I own my life and my freedom.
My understanding of the quality and caliber of
they offer me deals and the prosecutor and I'll never get the chance to speak to them.
They have an absolute requirement when the prosecutor makes what is known as a plea deal or a plea negotiation. They have a responsibility. They have ethical responsibility to share that with you. That's your decision, but they have to present it to you, at least for you to make that decision. But when I appoint an attorney to represent you, you're that attorney's boss. And if you decline a plea negotiation, then it's declined. That's up to you, not to them. So, I mean, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and indicate here that you wish to represent yourself. That's fine if that's what you want, but I would be thoughtful about that. Because again, this is what they do for a living. See what I'm saying?
Well, I know in court that they had to find me beyond reasonable doubt, guilty beyond reasonable doubt.
That is
So
true.
I feel comfortable representing myself because I know for a fact I'm innocent and I haven't committed any crime.
Okay, well, okay,
But
and that's
anybody-
fine. We can
Anybody else
absolutely,
you can represent me, they don't know. They don't know.
well,
100%.
but,
They can go home and sleep and be like, they don't know me.
okay,
They don't know
all right.
if I did these things or
Here's
not.
the thing. What happens though at a trial, if you're representing yourself, and again, the end result of this is you're gonna be able to represent yourself if you want, but it's going to be not you, it's not gonna be a judge, and it's not gonna be the prosecutor that makes a decision as to whether or not you are indeed guilty. It's gonna be a jury,
I know.
and they're gonna have to, and they're
It could
gonna,
be you
it's not gonna be me.
or whatever it is. I guarantee you will be changing this verdict after I got what I gotta say.
Okay, the question is, and I don't know what your evidence is, but the thing is, if you have an attorney to assist you, that helps you get that evidence in. Because there's some things that cannot be brought into court. And they know those rules. I don't know if you do or not, maybe you do, but if you do, that's fine. But there are some things that cannot be brought in, things that are considered hearsay, things that don't have a proper foundation, things that may not be authenticated.
Well, cash, like you paying me on the table. And
Mr.
like,
You're on the record right now.
I don't want you making any statement, sir, that is going to incriminate yourself. I
It's not
don't.
gonna incriminate me, sir.
Anything you say
All
though,
right.
sir, can be used against you. because
Exactly.
This is a court record.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't want
I'm gonna
anything.
use that in court. I'm in court now.
You are in court and they can use
This
this
is my
record.
defense. This is
All
what
right.
I'm gonna use.
That's fine. All right, I'm going to go ahead and indicate that you're declining court-appointed attorney. That's fine.
That's what I'm saying. Like he right here, you don't even want me to get my record across. This is what I'm here for.
Well-
I came in good for it because I want to press charges against him. I want to talk to the sheriff after this and Mississippi
All right.
State Police.
This is
And I have my evidence.
This is my concern, is that you don't fully understand the process. And that is not to say that you are not intelligent or anything. This is not what you do for a living. That's why most people wouldn't understand the process. But if you're determined to represent yourself, and I've tried my best to convince you, maybe you want the assistance of someone to help you. But if you don't, I'm going to indicate you're denying the request for court-appointed attorney. Now we have to address bond.
I just don't feel like they would take care of my.
Okay, but that's not been my experience. My experience is that they are very effective, but okay. We have a $2,000 personal recognizance bond, and I am going to continue that. And then now the dates for the probable cause conference are as December 5th, and the preliminary examination, that's going to be December 10th. That's going to be at 9 a.m. That's the prelim. And the probable cause conference that on December 5th, that's at 1:00 p.m. Okay. Now that one you can attend by calling in and discussing the matter with the prosecutor.
Well, I
But
get notice probably.
I'm giving you notice right now.
No, like paper notice.
You're going to get, they'll send
I
notice.
could forget.
Well, you've got to write it down because I'm giving you have notice right now, sir. This is your notice. Yeah, so if you don't show up, you're not going to be able to come here and say that you didn't get the notice because a bench warrant will definitely.
Said 9 a.m. for what date?
9 a.m. on December 10, 1 p.m. on December 5th.
December 10. 9 a.m. Could this be appeared by Zoom?
The December 5th, you can appear by Zoom. December 10, you have to be here physically.
So if I wanted to, it says that's a civil suit. I can't press charges against.
A civil suit would not be what we're doing here.
So I can't even press charges against the person that's doing this against me.
Not in this forum. I mean, if you decide you want to bring some sort of different matter, that'd be a different matter. That would be a completely different case. And it wouldn't be a criminal case. It sounds like that would be a civil
Is
case.
he criminal what he's been doing, though?
Then you have to have the prosecutor make a charge on
That's what I'm gonna, that's my intention.
that. Okay. Well, there you are. There you have your probable cause, December 5th, preliminary examination, December 10th. Need to be here in person for the preliminary examination. You can be here by Zoom for the 5th.
So
Okay.
the 9 a.m. is in person?
That's right.
Okay.
Good luck to you, sir.
Everybody, welcome to American Courts. This morning, me and my wife left the gym, and I got a call from my boss asking me to go to South Carolina for him. I had a neat interview set up for tonight. I had a neat guest that was going to come in, and so I jumped. I jumped and ran and got stuck in traffic, and so I pulled over and decided we'd go ahead and do the show and see if there's any way in the world that person's ever able to make the interview. It's certainly worth it. So y'all stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you, Snoopy, for the sticker. There's Julie. She's here. And then we got Nancy, Nan, Rivette. Looks like we got a whole pile of people in here. So we got Judge Ricky, Judge Fleischer, and a few other things. Judge Fleischer had a really neat one today. Something called a stash house. We're going to talk about that a little bit and see where we go from there. But let's go with Judge Ricky right now.
This is in the District Court of Greenwood County, Kansas, case entitled State of Kansas versus Taylor Lee Summerlin. It's case number 2021 CR 132. Richard Paul appears as defense counsel, Jill Gillette as Greenwood County attorney. Taylor Summerlin, with the agreement of the court, appears remotely by Zoom. This matter comes before the court at this time for further proceedings in regards to a warrant to show cause alleging probation violation. Mr. Paul, what are your client's intentions regarding these allegations, which include failure to contact his ISO as directed, failure to provide verification of his substance abuse treatment?
Judge, after speaking with Mr. Summerlin, he will waive his evidentiary hearing, admit to the violations with explanation, and proceed to disposition in this matter, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. All right, Mr. Summerlin, you have a right to a due process hearing where the state would have the obligation of proving these allegations by a preponderance of the evidence. You can challenge the state's evidence, present your own, confront the state's witnesses unless good cause was shown, and among other lesser remedies, the court could consider just an outright revocation of your probation and order you to serve the remaining balance of your sentence locked up. Do you understand these things?
Yes, sir.
And do you waive a hearing in this case and stipulate and agree that you committed the violations which the court outlined earlier?
Yes, sir.
All right. Court finds that Mr. Summerlin has waived his right to a hearing and stipulates and agrees that he committed the violations as alleged, failing to provide verification of his substance abuse treatment and failing to contact his ISO as directed are both serious and material violations of the terms and conditions of his probation. We will turn to disposition at this point, and I'll take recommendations from the various persons involved, beginning with Jill Gillette, Greenwood County Attorney.
Judge, Mr. Summerlin has had a long road in history in these matters. And this is not his first revocation. He had a revocation in December of 23. He had to contact Mr. Catley then. Needed to be following Mr. Catley's orders. So we've had quite a few issues when it comes to Mr. Summerlin. He's now over at Bel Air. This is one of those cases where everyone has gone above and beyond for Mr. Summerlin. This, I don't know if you remember, was the individual that was on fentanyl and meth at the same time. He had methadone. Um, the doctor at Holland Pathways wanted to wait a week before accepting him. The sheriff went all the way over and got his meds from the clinic in Wichita to give him in the jail, and then he refused to take them in the jail. Lots and lots of stuff was done for him for his last revocation. He's back in treatment again today, but I don't know how long it's going to last. We're up here on another time of him not following the directions of the court, not following his court services. He had failed to report his intensive supervision officer as required. He was supposed to be contacting every Friday via phone and has failed to do so and absconded in March. His whereabouts were unknown at that time, and he failed to provide verification of his substance abuse treatment he was supposed to go to, which was all that mess we did in December for him. And he didn't complete it and didn't get all the information turned in to Mr. Ketley, and his ISOs out of Wichita have had issues with him. They've bent over backwards for him. If you remember and recall, Mr. Gonzalez did all kinds of things to help. And I am basically at a loss of what to do other than to ask for him to serve his underlying. If the court or Mr. Catley recommends that he have sanctions and that he be reinstated, I'm going to leave it up to Mr. Catley. Mr. Gonzalez has had to work with him out of Sedgwick County, but he just up and absconds every time and then doesn't complete his treatment. What's to say he's not going to walk out again tomorrow? And after everyone basically moved mountains because he begged and pleaded last time, he didn't comply with all of that either. So right now he's in Holland Pathways again, but for how long? And that's where I'm at, is he talks the talk, but he cannot walk the walk. And so I'm basically saying he needs to serve his underlying.
Very well. Mr. Kentley, the court has a question. Obviously, his original probation is expired by now.
Correct.
When was it extended and when was it extended to? Perhaps Mr. Gonzalez can address it.
I believe he was extended until December 22 of 24.
Mr. Gonzalez, can you confirm that?
Bear with me just one moment.
And was that done as part of the order which stemmed from the last revocation proceeding?
Yes, at the violation hearing on December 21st, you ordered 12 months extension from his original termination date.
Okay.
Right, and I show his termination date effective 12/22/2024.
Thank you. Appreciate that, gentlemen. All right, Mr. Ketley, do you have any independent input here?
No, Your Honor, I agree with the state. I mean, I didn't put near as much effort into it as Mr. Gonzalez did, but I know he spent a lot of time trying to help Taylor, and Taylor just, he'd do okay for a little bit and then he would just take off.
Mr. Gonzalez, anything that you wish to say?
Not at this time. It sounds like he's not putting any effort into his recovery or probation. I find it convenient that he is now entered inpatient treatment again right before appearing in the court today.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Pa, your recommendations regarding an appropriate disposition here?
Judge, Mr. Summerlin would ask me to ask you to put him back on probation. Judge, back in March, he lost his job and he found himself homeless. He sold his phone so he could eat. According to Mr. Summerlin, he had asked Mr. Ketley to move him to 905 corrections there in Sedgwick County, because that's where Mr. Summerlin was living because he physically couldn't go to Eureka or basically out of the city of Wichita. So, Judge, and I'm sure Mr. Summerlin would like to address the court as well, but Taylor has re-engaged in treatment. I've talked to his substance abuse counselor, Sarah Poole. She thinks that he is back on track, but I know it looks suspect to the court that he comes in just a couple weeks before having to face you, Your Honor, and I would acknowledge that. So, the judge, he's 25 years old. He's had a lot of substance abuse issues. I think deep down he wants to do the right thing. He just when he gets a hurdle, it just kind of shuts him down a little bit. So, Judge, that's all I have.
Mr. Summerlin, I'm going to address you personally and ask you if you have any statements that you wish to make in mitigation of punishment or anything further that you personally would like to present to the court.
Yes, I definitely recognize what this looks like on paper. And I made an effort when I saw this was coming after I lost my job. And before I even lost my job, I told him on my very first meeting that at some point I'm going to need to be switched to 905 because I don't have the means to go back and forth. I told him before it ever happened that I'm struggling financially. I don't always even have money for food, let alone my phone bill. So I requested more than one time to be transferred to 905, and it just kept getting kicked down the road. And when I lost my job, I was already so far behind on my bills that since I was subletting, I was out on my, pardon my language, I was out on my ass immediately. And I made it maybe 4 or 5 days, and then I sold my phone so I could have something to eat. I lived in a tent.
No, let me stop you there. What is your understanding of this term 905?
Sorry, it's the parole office here, somewhere that I could physically go. The 905 building, it's
You're
905
not on
number
parole, are you?
No, it's corrections, but that's where like I would meet Derek. That's where the building he was housed in. I asked if I could, have access to that so that way I could still report because I knew there was going to be issues with my phone contact. I saw that coming down the line, but after I got put out, I had nowhere to go. I couldn't go to my mom's in Eureka because she's not clean. I couldn't be there. And the only reason that I came back to rehab was because I didn't realize that when Holland electively switched me to outpatient treatment, that wasn't considered a successful completion. Like I had no idea because they switched me to outpatient. And then when I lost my job, I had no way to get there. But in my mind, I had already finished. I was 90% of the way through the program. I wouldn't have just left. And I didn't have anywhere stable to go after that. I was living at the whim of my employer. Like I didn't have anywhere to go. I did not want to leave. Like when I left, I went because they said, okay, this is what your insurance is going to cover. And, we'll still be able to take care of you in outpatient treatment. You'll see us 4 or 5 days a week for this many hours a day. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm comfortable with that, I don't really have a choice in the matter. And at the time, there was family motivations as well. That was my daughter was not getting taken care of as good as she could have been. So I left to help so I could start making money again. I didn't just electively like, oh, I'm done with this. So like, I understand what this all looks like on paper, but that's simply not what actually happened. And the reason that I agree with what you guys are saying is because you guys did bend over backwards, but I didn't just blow this off. Like I got the rug pulled out from underneath me and I did everything I could to fix it. And to be quite honest, I didn't expect to live long enough to have to answer to this. I wasn't trying to live. I lost everything all at once. I'm not looking for a pity party, but I definitely don't agree with what you guys described that I did. That ain't true. And you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Judge, this is the same individual who ended up calling my cell phone number from the jail after the last revocation hearing.
For what purpose?
Because he was refusing his meds and were angry that they were making him take the meds. They went to extra lengths to get him and Mr. Gonzalez and Mr. Ketley and the sheriff worked so hard to get him his anti-seizure med and his methadone to help him break the addiction to fentanyl. And he started refusing them in the jail right after we went and got them all for him and tried to help him extensively. So then he got a jailer to call my cell phone number to complain that he was being made to take his meds to help him medically so that he didn't have more seizures. So I don't want to hear any more of this. This is all the same stuff we heard at the last hearing. This exact same stuff we heard at the last hearing.
May I respond to that?
You certainly may.
Okay. I definitely noticed that there was refusal for some of the meds because I wasn't allowed to take partial doses. And shaking your head doesn't mean anything. I was there. I was told by the rehab that I could not go to rehab until my dose was at 25 milligrams a day. And I was getting 50 milligram doses for one day. So I had to either break them in half, which wasn't allowed, or not take it at all. So I tried to push through and just not take it so I could go to rehab. Like, yeah, one of the motivations was I didn't want to be in jail, but I'm not trying to just say that I didn't want to take it. Oh, I don't care that you guys did this for me. That's just not fair. And I've never been homeless before in my life, so you can't say that that's what happened.
All right,
Like,
all right. Hang on.
Your Honor,
Mr.
I
Summerlin.
can't, Your Honor, I can't attest to the fact that that was one of the requirements for him to get into Holland Pathways was a reduction in medication.
All right.
Be up to a certain dose on methadone.
and at Bel Air, where I'm at right now, again, I only came here because I didn't know the completion wasn't like I didn't technically complete on paper, even though I went through the whole program. And Bel Air allows me to take my methadone. I never quit taking my methadone after I got outside of Holland. Like I was
Identify the facility that you're currently in.
Bel Air Recovery Center.
Okay. And are they affiliated with another provider?
No,
No, my counselor says no, they're not.
Summit.
How is it that you became admitted to what appears to be an inpatient facility?
I asked them to admit me. I came and I put the effort in to be admitted. Like no one sent me here. I called admissions and I got myself a bed date.
All right. When did you check into the facility?
The 14th.
Judge, if I may clarify, I believe I sent a copy of a letter to your assistant and Miss Gillette from Bel Air Recovery Center.
All right. What is your expected out date?
The 14th of December, and that's a tentative discharge. That means that it could be before, it could be a little bit after, but no more than a week in either direction.
Based on the course experience, generally inpatient facilities best address people that need detoxification, somebody who's in the throes of serious drug addiction and are still using.
Yes.
But you're not supposed to be using at all, which is a message that we sent you 2.5 years ago when you were originally sentenced.
No, Your Honor, I absolutely did relapse when I tried to hurt myself. I tried to just finish it. That's what I meant by I didn't expect to have to answer to you guys. I was done. I had nowhere else to go, and I was living in a tent. I was ready to be done.
So what do you think should happen today, Mr. Summerlin?
I think that this is a moment where everyone is mad at me, and I understand that, but I've never been in this position before in my life. Everyone just looks at it like it is on paper. I know I deserve another chance. I've been busting my ass to make this work. I've never once pretended like I didn't mess up, and I'm not sitting here and said, oh, pity me. And that's not true. That didn't happen. I've owned every single thing that you guys have said, every bit of it. But how it looks on paper is it's extremely robotic. It's not human. That doesn't account for what was happening. I don't know if any of you have ever lived in a tent, but I know what it's like to have to go find a bridge that's not adjacent with the wind so I could sleep, so I wasn't freezing. I know what it's like to go 4 or 5 days without food. That's what the last few months have been for me. I haven't been just living it up, absconding. I had to beg, and that breaks you. I barely like I didn't expect to be able to get out of jail, but I called my ex-employer that was supposed to be helping me with the job, and he said, "Well, I'll bail you out, but you're working at an extremely low rate." And I didn't even like I was working for free. I was literally working for free. I didn't have anything or anyone. I was lucky to get a friend to let me stay on a couch one night a week, if that. Everything I own is in a duffel bag here. Everything I own. I lost everything else. I had a car before that was mine. It got impounded and I couldn't get it back. Everything I own fits in a backpack. And like I said, I don't have anywhere else to go that's safe for me. I didn't relapse while I was out on the street because I wanted to get high. I was trying to kill myself. I didn't, this is callous. This is extremely callous. They're describing me like a crook. That's just not me. I've done everything I can to make this work. I told him before it was an issue that I needed to be able to report here or I was going to fail. I guess at the end of the day, I'm either going to, you guys are either going to hear me and understand what I was going through, or you're going to throw the book at me. I don't have any control over that, but the way that it was described is not at all what happened. I
Judge,
own what I did wrong.
he's already been sanctioned once by the supervising officer for 2 days. The court sanctioned him. And then he's also been in custody with Harvey County recently in October. And he has had other law enforcement contact. So he has been at Sedgwick County and at Harvey County in the meantime. And the Sedgwick County dates were back in May and the Harvey County was in October.
Respond to that.
Moment. Yes, you may.
Okay, those were all not new cases whatsoever. They were WAPT charges and stuff that got brought back up, and I didn't have an address for them to let me know that I had court, so it just went into bench warrant status. None of those were newly acquired charges. It was stuff that happened before. I didn't get in any trouble. They just came and got me.
And Your Honor, just to clarify, he was reporting to Sedgwick County till he was kicked out of treatment. And they sent him back. And I had him reporting by phone because I knew he couldn't make it over here.
Thank you, Mr. Kettler. Mr. Summerlin, one thing that puzzles me is that I have in your file an appearance bond, which apparently was done over in Harvey County with the assistance of B&K Bonding out of Salina. This court had set on your arrest warrant to show cause $3,000 cash or surety. How does a penniless, homeless guy like you make that $3,000 bond?
Like I said, my ex-employer bailed me out so he could get cheap labor out of me. An obscene number of hours in exchange for me bailing you out at this. And that's exactly what happened. That's what I meant by working for free.
Very well. The court has heard all of the recommendations that have been made today. Mr. Summerlin, in the interest of justice, this court is going to presuppose that there was an appropriate professional evaluation done of your then current condition, which led to you being admitted to an inpatient, essentially a detox facility, where you currently are. It also is logical that it's going to be one of those traditional 30-day programs where you would have an expected out date about December the 14th. Court considers it in the best interest of this offender and in the interest of justice to allow you to complete that. If nothing else, if there is benefit to be received from the program that you're currently in, your essentially well into it. The court wants to see you complete it. Now, I don't know exactly how you're paying for it, and I'm not going to get into that. But I'm going to also presuppose that what you've represented here is correct and that you're going to be in this facility till approximately December the 14th. This court will therefore then defer its announcement on disposition until Thursday, December the 26th, which is my next Greenwood County court date. Mandy, can you suggest an afternoon time that we can resume proceedings in this case and the court can announce an appropriate disposition?
1:15 p.m.
Mr. Paul?
Doesn't make me happy, but I'll be there.
All right. December 26th, 1:15 p.m. Summerlin, you're going to be out of there December the 14th or around that date. You should have no problem arranging transportation. I don't care if you have to ride a bicycle or even walk, but you're going to appear at the Greenwood County Courthouse in Eureka. I don't know where else you would participate from after you're released from the facility, and you're not going to be at the facility anymore. So the one place I know that you can participate from is the Greenwood County Courthouse in Eureka, Kansas. You're going to have to use whatever resources that you have available to you to make sure you're there. And only that location. It's the only one I'll approve. I am deferring your disposition, I think, to benefit you. Therefore, you will have 12 days to get yourself to Eureka and to participate from the Greenwood County Courthouse location on that date. And that is 1:15 p.m. on December 26th.
Understood. Your Honor, I don't know how else to ask, so I'll just be straight. Like, I've been looking into sober living places here. Is that something I should just not worry about doing? Because
Well, we're recommending you go to.
At this point, I want you to successfully complete the inpatient program that you're in and show up for court on December the 26th at 1:15. I make no promises here.
Understood.
I just believe that
Judge,
it's in the interest of justice for you to complete this program that you're in.
whoever is the individual feeding him information at the treatment facility shouldn't be doing so. He has an attorney to take care of legal advice.
So noted. I do appreciate the facility and their staff working with this individual that obviously needs their help and assistance. December 26, 1:15, with Summerlin appearing at the Greenwood County Courthouse in Eureka, Kansas. This will be a Zoom proceeding for all other participants, but I want you to participate from that location. I have no doubt that they'll have effective Zoom audio and video for you to participate fully at that time, Mr. Summerlin, even if you don't have a phone.
Understood.
Okay. Because he's in inpatient treatment, I'm not necessarily going to establish any reporting requirements between now and time of December the 26th, unless Mr. Gonzalez or Mr. Ketley specifically requests that. Okay, I see no.
No.
So just make sure you're in Eureka and ready to participate further in your dispositional phase of this proceeding, December 26th at 1:15, Mr. Summerlin.
I'll be there.
All right. If there's nothing further at this time, the Summerlin matter will be in recess, and this meeting may be on for all.
Okay, so that's a tough judge. I really love what he does there. There were parts of that I believed the guy, parts that I didn't believe the guy. So I got a guest. When I started doing YouTube, I started paying attention to this person more and more. I started just watching how they did things, and I really liked the way they did things. I've tried a few times to get the person on, but they're always busy. Life gets you caught up. And so today, that person wanted to be on the show, and of course, I had to be out of town. So, right now my studio is a truck. I literally pulled over to the side of the road, but it's probably one of the most important people I've ever gotten to talk to, and I wanted to make sure that everybody got a chance to say hi to my buddy Kathy. Hey, Kathy.
Hi guys.
It's Kathy. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah. So
Bill, I
yeah.
had something so big planned for this. I went out and I got a whole bunch of stuff. I had something so huge planned for this, but then I thought it wasn't going to happen. I saw notices that it wasn't going to happen, so I didn't set it up. Oh, I'm so mad. It was great. It was epic. Next time.
Okay, that means we have to do it again maybe next week.
Yes, Monday.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lori loves Law is saying, "Hey, Kathy." Emily saying, "Hey, Kathy." John saying, "Hey, Kathy." So guess what? They know you.
Hey, guys.
So when I started doing YouTube, I really truly looked up to you and your channel because your channel was about being nice. Look, we can all show court clips. We can all show court clips. We can all jump in there. And then I got to watch a crazy video of a sovereign citizen arguing with the judge and ended up getting tased.
Yes.
And I was like,
Mr. Stewart.
yeah, absolutely. I was like, holy hell, that's just crazy. And so I continued watching, and I was like, okay, she's brought this Judge Fleischer on here, and I'm like, I'm not up at 4 o'clock in the morning, so I don't know what she's showing, and I'm like, I really kind of want to show this, and so I started showing a few clips of it, and the normal reaction on YouTube is to get defensive and get mean. But what did you do? No, you wanted everybody to see the love of Judge Fleischer. You wanted everybody to see what he had to offer.
Yes, Judge is great. He's awesome.
And so that means the world to us, and we greatly appreciate the opportunity to show Judge Fleischer. Um, I I assure you that Judge Fleischer's character wouldn't be as high as it is. He wouldn't be as high in everybody's hearts if you didn't bring that judge to us. And so,
I was just thrilled the day that I saw him. I was giddy all day. I couldn't, and I didn't see his face at first, just like you guys didn't. I put that video out right away as soon as I recorded it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is great. And then I saw him, and he had a bow tie on, and I could not believe it.
well, yeah, and I get all the time. I constantly get comments about how Judge Fleischer is it's just an act.
Yep.
He's just doing that
Nope.
for the camera. And I'm like,
Nope.
no, I've had a chance to talk to him off the camera, and he's eccentric there. That's just his character. That's the person he is.
Sorry. My son is playing. I recorded all those early ones when he didn't even know I was there. And he was the exact same. There
Right.
was like two people watching his stream, me and somebody else. Oh, sorry. And he didn't even know I was there.
No, absolutely. And I've told some people that it seems to me almost like he's toned it down a little bit. It's almost like he knows that camera's there a little bit, and he's got to tone it down some. But you can start to see when he starts to lean forward in a seat, you can tell he's just getting animated and just getting geared up. And that just kind of shows what type of character he is. He's just that alive.
We all
But
wait for him to fall off the chair all the time.
well, for the longest time, I was truly thinking that Judge Fleischer. Someone had said that he was like 6'3" or 6'4", and I was believing it for the longest time. And so I was sitting there thinking, it's like, wow, that's a tall fella. He's as tall as Stephen is. And of course, he's not that tall, but he look at that.
Well, when you walk into that courtroom, you're on the ground, but the judge's bench is up really, really high. So that's why tall people are looking straight at him and short people are looking way up. He looks 6 feet tall. His bench is huge.
Well, in our reality, after what happened in January with that judge in Las Vegas, they need to be away. They need to be a distance. I think the one girl said someone went and jumped over the canopy at the judge, and so they got to keep a little bit of distance from him.
Yeah, for someone to get to the judge, they have that table there, and then the bench is real high. So, I don't think you can get around the one side. The other side, you have to go the whole way around and get through Steven. So he's pretty much protected. You have to jump pretty far.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so whenever I got to talk to Judge Fleischer, I brought your name up, and you'd not believe how big the smile got just whenever your name was brought up. He truly respects what you're doing, and just generally loves you and your attitude. And so it was good to see someone share the feelings of a friend. And so
Yeah, whenever I think of the judge or see the judge or watch the judge, I mean, I don't know, he's elite and it makes me feel good. He makes me feel really good all the time, every day.
absolutely. So we've got some Judge Fleischer from today. You want to watch it?
Yes, always.
All right. This one's got the Stash House one on it. That one, I can't believe the Stash House showed up in a misdemeanor court. Of all the things you think that would be in felony court.
It was so sad too.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to jump on a few of them.
Defendant by sight that he has been given several trespass warnings. The complainant told the officer that the defendant is not a resident and that he trespasses in vacant apartments. The witness, a security guard, has personally given the defendant the trespass warnings, including on the day before this incident.
Okay. Mr. Cesare, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to go back to this apartment complex. Do you understand? If you go back, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. I'm going to put you in jail. I will not give you any more PR bonds.
Oh,
Just look, you don't have to.
I live there with somebody.
Unless you're on a lease, they can forbid you from going there.
What about if you get mail there?
I can't give you legal advice. The only thing I'm going to tell you is that they don't want you to go back there. If you're not on a lease, don't go back there. I'm making that a condition of your bond.
I loved how casual this guy was. I'm just saying that this guy, he wasn't worried at all about being in court.
Yep, not at all.
Let me ask you this. Are you working at this time?
I ain't working.
What do you do with yourself?
I don't work.
How do you support yourself?
Other ways.
Sorry?
I said other ways. I work like temp services and shit. I mean,
You want to apply for a court-appointed lawyer, sir?
yeah.
All right. I'm going to give you an application. I'm going to have you talk to someone today. They can tell you how to work forward going, but don't go back to this apartment complex. It's just going to go haywire. It's going to go bad. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. He'll give you an application, please. I'm going to have you sign a reset with Victoria, and then we'll have you take a seat in the jury box, Mr. Cesare. Do you mind filing those conditions, please?
How many times a year do you think he goes to court?
At least 12, once a month.
Yep.
How many times a year do you go to court, Bill?
To be honest with you, I normally go to court at least once a year. And whenever I do go to court, we're probably in court for 2 to 3 weeks because the company I work for, getting sued for different things. I have to represent the company in court, and it's amazing. Most of the time, I just spend going through the company policy manual and just arguing. Did the person follow the manual or did they not follow the manual? But it is amazing having to sit in court that much, and you get to love it. You get to love the personalities. Our local court reporter, she's just precious. She's the sweetest lady ever, and when I get mad, I start talking faster, and a court reporter doesn't like that. And there was a lawsuit, and my office administrator, she was on the stand, and the lawyer was pretty mean to her. And I take my team very serious, and so I was out for that lawyer. Me and that lawyer were going to go toe to toe. And he's a smart lawyer, so he started asking me the right questions. He started hammering on me, and I started getting nervous and just started talking faster and talking faster and talking faster. And we ended up winning that. We ended up winning that lawsuit, and so I sent him an email just saying, "Hey, appreciate the time, buddy." And so, but I work with a transportation company, and anytime someone gets hurt, there's always a lawsuit. Insurance companies are going to sue, and so
I used to work for a transportation company, Jacobson Logistics.
Okay.
They were global.
Yeah, I work for a company that does like Walmart distribution centers and Amazon distribution centers. We don't do over the road trucking, but we do like yard management. In other words, just moving trailers around the yard. and at the terminals. And so,
Guys, is he talking fast? Is he mad at me right now? Listen, you tell me. I'm gonna kill him. When I get mad, I stop talking or I barely talk. Like I'll answer you, I'll be nice to you. I'll talk to you like normal, but no details, barely any words. When I get mad, that's it. There's no more words from me. You don't deserve it.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Jane had a funny one that said, it looked like Judge Ricky's court was watching our chat. That's always there.
That was
But
just
yeah,
scary.
yep. Let's jump on to the next one and see if we can't do this one. It says, time to change identities again. Nan's too smart for me. Uh-oh. Gotta figure out who that is.
Excuse me.
Snoopy's having a blast today.
Did you say Herrera?
Is it snowing where you're at,
You're
Kathy?
Moises Herrera.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Herrera, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do.
What was that?
I want snow. I like snow. I like it nice, crisp, and cold, invigorating. I like it.
It's snowing in Nashville, so I figured Pennsylvania would be getting it if Nashville's getting it. Nan's getting snowed on, so she's gonna have a
You
pretty
better
morning.
be careful. Wear your rubbers.
Probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir. Okay.
On November 24th, 2024, the officer conducted a traffic stop on the defendant's motor vehicle after observing it stopped at a red light in the opposite lane of traffic. Upon contact with the defendant, the officer observed him to have red, watery eyes, slow, slurred speech, and a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage. The officer also observed an open bottle of tequila in the driver's seat back pocket, and the defendant admitted to drinking. Standard field sobriety tests were performed, HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 5 out of 8, one leg stand 3 out of 4. The DIC was red and the defendant consented to breath. The results were 0.141 and 0.130.
Okay. Are you trying to tell me that he's consuming alcohol while he's driving?
There's no indications that it was in the pocket behind the driver's seat.
I see. All right. Mr. Herrera, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Tell me, how old are you, sir? What do you do for a living? I see that you have a lawyer, correct?
Right.
Okay. I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or any illegal drugs, I will put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a valid Texas driver license?
Yes, I do.
You don't live with your honor.
You have liability insurance in your name.
Of course.
You have car insurance. All right. Good. Good job. So I'm going to have you sign a receipt. Victoria will have you meet with Felicia for your bond conditions, and then we'll just have you take a seat and wait for your lawyer to arrive. Okay? Please.
Johnson, page 19. Moesha.
You know, I was just thinking about that, Allie. Whenever I try talking to Kathy and she's busy, can't talk, I'm like, oh no, she's not talking. She must be mad. And so that's what it is.
I'm never mad. Has anybody ever seen me mad? Ever, even one time?
Oh yeah. Whenever I log in under my other account, and put all the comments in Judge Fleischer's court, you tend to get mad.
Is that you making my job harder?
I just want to explain to you how I feel about global politics and how I feel about the church. You know, isn't that confusing to see people you love, people you really care about, and then you see some of the crazy comments that they put, and you're like, why do you just not get it? Why do you just not? I find it's awesome. I see some of the same names that are so sweet in my comments on my channel, and I'm like, I saw you in court earlier. I saw the trash you were posting earlier. now you're being nice.
I know they and then they're shocked, like because they think we're like friends, So they think that they can say whatever they want in Judge Fleischer's courtroom. And then they're like shocked when I delete their message. And they're like, what did I say? Today, people could not understand. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say what they were saying here because I don't want to get you in trouble. But they
Oh,
didn't understand what they were saying wrong when we got to this stash house. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you see what you just typed in here? That you should be banned. Somebody unbanned someone I banned today.
oh, I saw that. I saw that. Yep. I watched that and then and I thought about it. I was like, yep, there doesn't need to be more drama behind the scenes than in front of the scenes.
Yeah, I was fine. If they want to, that's fine. Maybe there was something I didn't know about his comment. Maybe I read it wrong, but I didn't.
Yeah, and it's amazing how non-personal it is. Modding in Fleischer's Court. Most time we're just looking for keywords. We're not looking at people or personalities or understanding who they are. We're just looking for the keywords that we know that YouTube's going to tear up on us.
I can't see the name when I time someone out, when I block someone, when I just take a message away, when I delete a message. I just look at the message and then I delete it. I look at the message, and if it says any of these things, I delete it, and then I look at the name, and I'm like, why would you do that to me?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and it's neat because you start to build that relationship with these people. You're like, hey, we were just at Thanksgiving dinner. Why are you saying that now? And so it's neat though to see the same names in Judge Fleischer's Court and then see the names on the chats and later, and then to see them in Discord. You start to build those sorts of friendships. It's an odd world. It's an odd world to think about your online friends versus your friends in regular life.
Yeah, and it's weird that like you almost get more comfort from strangers that live halfway around the world than you do with your friends in real life sometimes. Because they
Yeah.
understand more, they've been through it. Your friends just live near you.
Oh no, absolutely. If one of my coworkers calls me on the phone, I want to roll my eyes. But if I see Throw the Goat in chat, I just smile. I'm just so excited to see Throw the Goat. If I see Charlotte from France in there, I just smile. Anytime you see them, you just I can't begin to tell you when I see Donald. Whenever I see Donald in there, first I get all geared up, but it's so happy to see him in the chat. And I got my buddy Nancy. She's telling KK goodnight. KK's an early sleeper. She likes to go to bed early. And see, that's the weird thing. You start to learn all these people's habits. You start to learn, okay, what's about this time this person will be here. Like Kathy, if you stream past 7 or 8, I'll show up.
Yep, I used to be able to set my clock by Legal Fiction. He always came at the same time, like almost near the end, but still with enough left.
Oh, it's okay. He'll be back. He'll be back. We'll find him again one day. And so, but he's truly missed. And so we're gonna go. We're gonna go on so we can get through this one.
Good morning, Ms. Johnson. Ma'am, you were charged with assault, bodily injury. You're facing up to a year in jail and a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. The officer was dispatched to a service in Harris County, Texas. The complainant and the first witness, the complainant's mother, stated that the defendant had been texting and posting on Instagram about wanting to fight the complainant. The complainant and defendant were inside an apartment when the fight began. The witness stated that she observed the defendant to have a small sharp blade in between her knuckles when hitting the complainant. The defendant punched the complainant in the face, causing lacerations and pain. The defendant told the officers that the complainant believed that defendant was with the complainant's ex-boyfriend, which is what started the fight.
And it's just an assault?
Yes, Judge.
It's funny to watch the defendant try to contain her laughter. She's about to crack up. She don't know what's going on. She's scared to death to be in court, but the judge is already on her team on it. And so
everybody hated her smile a lot today in chat.
Yep.
Johnson, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm shocked that it's not an aggravated assault. Let me tell you, I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to be in possession of any weapons and not to have contact with the complaining witness in this case. Do you understand? Yes or no?
Yes.
I want you to understand that I'm going to do everything in my power to protect the public and every single person in it. And if that means locking you up and putting the bond extremely high, I will do it in a heartbeat. Do you understand?
Yes.
We're going to reset your case to give you time to hire a lawyer. So I'm first going to have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. After that, I'm going to have you take a seat in the jury box while we get your bond conditions. We'll have you sign it, and then you'll be on your way. Do not have contact with this complaining witness. Do you understand?
So Patricia's saying she's sorry she wrote a drug word once in Fleischer's court. So Patricia, I learned something about that, and it doesn't change anything in Fleischer's court. But I learned how the channels get away with talking about drug references and ones that don't. It just takes a lot more steps after we figured it out with Court Addict. After the stream's over, we got to go through some settings and we got to basically talk to YouTube and tell YouTube why we mention drugs and how it's okay. A judge can't do that. Judge Fleischer can't spend 2 hours after the stream's over in the afternoon, editing it. And you got to understand those newspapers will tear it up. They'll look for any little thing that they can go after a judge on. The defense lawyers, the defense lawyers have to protect their clients. And so if they can make it seem like the judge is biased or the judge is this or the judge is that, they've got to defend their clients. And so sometimes a word that you would never think would be just don't mention drugs. Just leave that conversation alone. It's just never going to work. There's never a time when mentioning drugs is going to work in that. And so it's just not going to go there. Everybody started typing legal fiction. I thought he jumped in the chat. I was getting excited there. I was looking for it.
There's someone else with the name Legal and something Legal. And a couple people say in my chat all the time, "Hi, Legal," and my hopes go up. I'm like, what? Legal fiction's here. Not that I don't love that other Legal just as much, but I'm always like, oh, so close.
Oh, absolutely. And whenever we had the other friend that was Lethal Friction for a while, look, I love her to death, but every time I saw her, I thought it was legal fiction at first, and I was like, it's a different kind of love.
Listen, she can be anybody she wants to be.
Period. Absolutely. She's special. That's one that I've actually told her before. I don't think we deserve her. We're blessed with her, and we're gonna take every advantage of it we can.
Yeah, if she would stop being sick all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Patricia, we've got Nan in the chat there. Nan was a nurse, and sometimes that nurse slips out on her. And so when people start saying stuff that's wrong about medicine, she'll want to fix it up. And Sivo girl, one of my best friends, she is a anesthesiologist, and so when people start talking about pain medicine and their stuff, she wants to get in there and correct the record. And I'm like, yeah, but you just can't. Don't do it.
Does she bring any samples home by any chance?
A Sivo girl?
Yeah.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
Stand, man. No more warnings. You will get no more warnings from us. All right. Good morning, Mr. Lockridge.
Hey.
So you're charged with terroristic threat. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you.
Fozzie.
You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On November 20th, 2024, the officer was dispatched to a group home in Harris County, Texas. Upon arrival, the officer spoke with the complainant, who advised that after her and the defendant, another resident of the home, got into a verbal argument, the defendant told him, "I'm going to fuck you up." The complainant stated the defendant then went outside, grabbed a bed frame, and stated he would tear this place up. The complainant advised he was not in fear, but advised he would like to pursue charges because he perceived the statement as a threat.
He's not in.
I think that's one of my favorite looks of the judge.
Yeah, look at that. He's very, very not okay right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, this guy here with a terroristic threat, you can almost put anything as a terroristic threat. half of what my wife says to me would be listed as terroristic threats.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yep.
Terroristic threat
Good.
my customers.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to find no probable cause in your case, Mr. Lockridge, but be careful. When you get upset and you say things that you really don't mean, they can get you in a lot of trouble, right? Have patience. It's not hard. And if you get upset, walk away, find another release. But sticks and stones may bring you back to us, and you don't want to come back here. All right? Okay, man, just take a seat for me, okay? Please.
And some of these folks that come from these group homes that show up in there, judge is so nice and sympathetic to them. They're challenged already. They're having a rough time already, and the judge could be just cold and heartless, but he's not. He talks to them on a level. I constantly get the comments about, oh, the judge is racist because he talks to one race different than he talks to another race. And me and Linus were talking about it. I was like, he talks to people on the level where they can see it personal. He doesn't, but I've never seen him treat someone differently based on that. And I was explaining it to Linus earlier because I got a comment about you. I think the comment was you're all caps, and so I had to ask Linus, what does that mean? And they were saying I guess they were saying I was lying about it, because I said I don't see the judge talking to people different, and so I have to get Linus to translate for anything about below 30.
For real. No cap.
Exactly.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's do it. What was his
All right,
name?
this is it.
So it's called, I think it's Adolfo on there, but it's Anulfo
That's right. Mr. Martinez, come on up. Okay. Shh. All right, Mr. Martinez, you were charged with operating a stash house. I wanted to make sure that your lawyer was here when we did probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. Here we go.
Yes, sir. On November 24th, 2024, the officer was dispatched to an apartment in Harris County, Texas. The officer located 5 adult complainants locked in bedroom while conducting welfare check. The officer observed the defendant to be the sole person in the apartment, not locked in the bedroom. The officer determined the apartment to be under the control of the defendant, and all complainants gave similar statements and stated they were held in the locked bedroom without the ability to come and go freely. The complainants were all found to be in possession of identifying documents, but cell phones had been taken away. The complainants stated if they needed to leave the bedroom, they had to knock on the door and be led through the apartment, sometimes with a bag over their head, by one of 2 males in charge. The defendant stated he lives at the location with another male, but does not know the other male very well.
Okay, whoa. So the defendant says that he lives
at that location.
At the location.
But he does not know the second male that also lives at the location.
Does he know him well or does
Doesn't
he?
know him well.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And the
So a couple of people in the chat are asking, what is a stash house? In this case, a stash house is where you put people that you're human trafficking. You just take them and put them in a room, and I'll just go ahead and say on this one, I didn't hear every bit of it, but in this one here, I believe this guy's job is to be the one to get arrested, and that way that lawyer can say exactly what she said. She could say, he's not the owner of the house, he's not that, and so therefore it doesn't violate the law. But when they go to human trafficking, they do horrible things, and they've got really smart lawyers. When you have that kind of money, you can hire really good lawyers, and you know exactly how to do it. But a lot of people do it with drugs and guns and all kinds of other craziness. But in this case, it was five people, and you got to think that's 5 people who didn't know if they were going to get killed. They didn't know what was going on with them. They didn't know if they had any time left. And this guy here is this guy here is up here, of course, presumed innocent, they say, but in the end, he's sitting and then he's free to move around. There's a baseball bat within his reach, but they're arguing that since he doesn't have control of since he didn't rent the apartment, he's not in control of the apartment. So I wasn't too fond of this guy, and in reality, I didn't listen to it well enough to even hear what the judge says or does. So let's watch it together.
Defendant denied knowing the 5 people in the apartment. Instead, they were dropped off in the morning, and that he did not know who dropped them off. The defendant was found with approximately $6,000 on his person, and the officer observed the door where the complainants were to be unable to be locked or unlocked from the inside, only able to be locked from the outside. The room where the complainants were found was free of any furniture, with no mattresses on the floor, and only 3 pillows and multiple blankets. Officers also found a large sheet of plywood covering the window and no working light bulbs. The officer observed a desk in the dining area with 4 envelopes with names in 3,600 written on them containing cash, a total of 11,200. Officers also found a brown wooden baseball bat on the desk with the envelopes.
If I may, Your Honor. So my understanding is that I guess the code says that he has to own the property or rent it, but he was actually renting a room from the guy that lived at that apartment. So he had only paid 1 month of rent to the guy and was going on his 2nd month. He, from my understanding, didn't know who those people were. They had gotten dropped off that morning, and he hadn't left for work yet, was my understanding, that day when the officers showed up. And that's all I know from what I gathered. But he had been living there, and there hadn't been people there until that morning when they arrived, that the officers then arrived at the home.
Did the officers interview him at all?
Interview the defendant?
Uh-huh.
Yes, Your Honor. And that's whenever he told them that he lived at the location, but did not know the person very well, and that he did not know the 5 people inside. And the officer found them locked in a bedroom, but he denied knowing who they were.
So it says here, person commits an offense if the person knowingly, 1, uses or permits another to use any real estate, building, room, tent, vehicle, boat, or other property owned by the person or under the person's control to commit an offense or to facilitate the commission of an offense under.
Which is, Judge, those other sections are smuggling or trafficking.
Right. Or rents or leases any property to another, intending that the property be used as subdivision 1.
Which would be him allowing them to use the property for such commission of alleged offense, but it wasn't his. I guess my issue is that it wasn't his property. He was not on the renting or.
And Your Honor, the officers found him to be under the property to be under his control, as they found him to be the only person on the premises at that time, not locked in the bedroom. So yeah, that's why it was the officer's conclusion that he was in control of the property at the time.
I like it when the judge reads the law and he'll read it out of the book to him.
What evidence do we, Nathan?
Read us a story,
what
Judge.
evidence do we have that he knows the persons are being trafficked or being held?
Well, in these cases, typically, Judge, somebody's not going to come out and say, I
Right.
know everybody's being trafficked in this room. It's going to be a matter of circumstances, the totality of the circumstances, I would say, to make that out. And I believe, Judge, based upon the information that we have, that we're at least there for false cause standards.
And if I may, I did go ahead and read the entire dim summary, and the complaining witnesses that were found in the home did describe two individuals, none of which meet the description of my client. They said one of them was a young male with glasses and an older man with a white beard, is what the two individuals told the officers.
And Your Honor, in the full dims, the complainant one described the.
So hold on a second, because that, are you telling me that the people who are held captive are saying that it's another two people who are acting?
There was, Your Honor, there was a description given, older with gray hair, a round face, and a beard, and the officer observed the description given to fit the physical description of the defendant. So there was a description given by the complainant, and the officer observed it to match the defendant.
Well, but the time he got arrested, he didn't have a beard. So because the mugshot doesn't show a beard, so I would assume. I mean, I would have to see what they said. I just don't think it's.
I think he's there, he's alone, there's $11,000. I mean.
The other thing too is, Judge, it's my understanding based upon ADA Farmer's recent, I guess, knowledge of the statute that it modified felonies in some cases, which we may be refining this case as a felony. I always try to warn, I'll just say less experienced defense attorneys when you're dealing with an ultimate probable cause argument. Sometimes it comes back worse when you go to the felonies, which I think may happen that case.
Be careful what you wish for.
So the statute has changed. I haven't seen what the statute says now, but it.
Are you telling me that it changes? Does it change January 1st?
It looks like there was an amendment in February. It's still in our system, under our pleadings. It's still looking like a class A misdemeanor, but when you read the Texas Penal Code under section 20.07, it is a third-degree felony, and that was amended in February.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, look at that. Under 2026. All right, so Mr. Martinez, I am going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to engage in this behavior, not to be in possession of any weapons. If you pick up a new case, if I find you with a weapon, if you engage in this type of behavior, I will put you in jail. I will not give you any more PR bonds. I don't know what your status in this country is, but if you're in this country without permission and you go to jail, and immigration finds you while you are in custody, they will put an immigration detainer on you, and you will be stuck in custody until the case is over with and then shipped off to immigration. You are on notice now that I'm going to do everything in my power to protect my county. I don't care who, what, when, where, but if I find that you're a public danger, then I will put you in custody. Do you understand? You have a lawyer. It is your responsibility to stay in touch with counsel, and they will tell you when you have to come back to court. If they tell me that they are unable to reach you because you're not responding to phone calls, text messages, likewise, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. No more PR bonds for you, sir. So we'll just have him sign the bond conditions and then he's free to go with you.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, ma'am. And so for what it's worth, it is now a third-degree felony. So I don't know how it's still a Class A at this moment. So
Correct. Let me.
that is charged as an A versus a third degree.
Correct. Let me look into that.
So yeah, okay. All right, sir. Do not leave, Roberto. If you can tell him, don't leave until he signs bond conditions, please. And then if you can follow those, please.
And just to clarify, no engaging in like behavior and
no weapons, right? Yeah, and no.
So did you pick up what the defense attorney said right before he told her to be careful?
No, I did not.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I just picked it up that time around, and a few in the chat and picked up on it. I didn't know if he was telling her like, "Be careful with what you're saying," or if she was about to trip or fall. So I completely missed it.
Did you see what Miguel wrote? He said he wants you to ask YouTube to help fix his notifications. Do you remember all the stuff
Yeah.
we had to deal with YouTube over the last year? We
Yes.
should be able to fix the notifications too. We'll just talk to them like we have been.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the biggest thing when someone says, "Hey, how come that happened?" I'm like, "I don't know. You just guess. You just guess. You might as well have just a damn voodoo doll on to what happened with something." I know Debbie was uploading something the other day and it just disappeared, and I was like, "Yep, that's just how this works." You can put all the effort into something and it just goes away. You were trying to jump on the interview, or jump on the call tonight, and just had all sorts of technical issues, and it's just sometimes it's just going to, no matter what you do, it's just going to be wrong.
Yep, yep. But
And
not
so
with my phone. My phone is always there for me.
you know what I've got one phone right here using as a light, and I've got another phone over here using as a hotspot while I'm on a laptop, and so in the end I'm as happy as could be.
Yep.
So what I'm curious, have you seen the defense attorney, have you seen her before in there?
Honestly, I never get to watch court. I don't get to see any of them because I play it. I'm modding when he does it, and then when I do it, I'm focused on chat, so I never actually get to see the people in this courtroom. except
Yeah,
for except for you, Victoria. I see you all the time.
well, and my wife talks to me like I'm crazy. She's like, "Hey, so you watch Fleischer during the day and you play him at night, and then you watch him the next morning on Kathy's?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because I got to watch the dang thing." And so you got to watch it 2 or 3 times in order to get to it. And
Because I
so
have to find these people in my stream that I hear during modding, and I don't even know what they look like. They could be a guy, they could be a girl. I don't even know. That's why I have to ask everybody, where is it? Tell me when to stop because I don't know where it is.
absolutely, I guess what I'm working, and it's making a lot of assumptions on this guy. It's making a lot of assumptions on the attorney, and just a lot of assumptions that probably aren't right. But let's just say this was the bad guy. Let's just say he was the worst guy ever.
He is the bad guy. He is.
Okay, well, I didn't want to put you in an awkward spot. So wouldn't the cartel just pay his bond to get him out of jail?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, they'll take care of him.
yeah, absolutely. So in the end, he just runs off and he's done for the day.
I have I have a case that I can't play that I watched today, and it's really sad. This mother, okay, a husband and wife got divorced 3 years ago, and the mother accused the father of all kinds of nasty, disgusting things. So the guy had to go through all these psychological exams. The kids had to go through all these psychological exams, polygraph tests, everything for years. It took years to get through all this. Dad can't see the kid in all this time. Mom gets remarried. But mom's dad, grandpa, believes everything mom said. Mom's a meth head. So, eh, mom and her new husband are just terrible people. But dad finally wins his day in court and finally gets to see the kids. First time in years. And he drives there, and the grandfather kills him. He can't see the kids. And the grandfather's like, yeah, I know I'm going to jail, but I don't want him to ever see these kids, even though it was all a lie. Like everything was proven that it was all a lie. The grandfather went to jail, and he didn't go to jail for that long because he said, yes, I killed him. This is why I killed him. I don't want my grandkids to be hurt. So yeah, I'll go to jail. So he got a couple years. These guys will go to jail if it gets that far. He'll go to jail. He'll take the light jail time because it wasn't that bad. He only was there, and the cartel will pay for everything, and then he'll be right back out again. It's their excuses, like why they did it. This guy, I didn't know. Grandfather was like, I have a good excuse, so they don't care.
Yeah, it's just hard for me to believe that he's in poverty, renting a room at this weird apartment, and he's got $6,000 cash in his pocket and 4 envelopes with $3,600 cash each, and he's sitting at a kitchen table with a baseball bat.
Yeah, and you're trafficking human beings, so you're gonna rent the room out to somebody?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, everything about the story was crazy. So did you ever watch that? Would you ever watch that movie? Or did you ever watch that TV show Yellowstone?
No, I always wanted to, but I have not yet, and now I
Okay.
don't have time.
Okay. So something better than the show Yellowstone is the first thing that producer ever did was a movie called Sicario. It has Josh Brolin and it's got Benicio del Toro in it. It's a really good movie, but it's about a lot of the human trafficking stuff going on.
Oh gosh,
It's
no,
a
I couldn't watch that.
it's a great movie.
I don't think
It's
I
a
could watch it.
okay. Well, if you ever get to the point where you have no more feelings left, go ahead and watch that movie.
Now, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, I can watch that.
As you know, as silly as it is, I noticed the other day I've got every one of those movies in that series.
I don't believe you. Prove it.
Oh, I absolutely do. We've got the whole set. Yeah, because there's Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and then there's another one. There's another one that they just made a couple years ago. And so, but well, look, Kathy, thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so much for showing up for the show.
Thank you,
I
thank you, thank you for having me on. I would invite you on, but it's 4:30 in the morning. But if you're ever awake at 4:30 in the morning, text me. I'll put you right
well,
on.
you can ask Fozzie. Me and him will be texting at 4 o'clock in the morning, but by 4:30 I'm asleep. At 4:30 I'm
Me
up.
too.
But
Me
but I
too.
but I'll absolutely. But see, even if you're like, let's say your live starts at 4:30, I'll show up to wait for the live, and by like 4:26, I'm clicking on other videos just to wait, and then all of a sudden it's like 7 in the morning, and I'm like, oh damn, I'm in trouble.
I do that too. The last 2 days I did that. But I have been really sick since Thanksgiving. I have been really sick, and Thanksgiving was Thursday. Friday, I'm joking, Victoria. I love you.
I think I lost my sound.
I hear you. Oh, you can't hear me? That checks out.
Hold on.
Can you guys hear me? Can you hear my son screaming in the background?
I can hear you now. I think I'd lost my sound there for a minute.
Oh, they're saying my mic is going out.
I still did. I still did. I lost my sound, everybody. All right, you guys have a great night. You guys enjoy. Thank you so much for coming out, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much, Cassie. Love you.